Ooh, Japan problems. Ooh, look at all them sleeping, overworked men. This is hell, chat. Anime girls have hell in them. That's why we're here.
You're looking at a ferry leaving Tokyo destined for Kyushu, the southernmost island in Japan, one of several isolated locations where hundreds of Japanese people flee in the night. Around 100,000 people disappear in Japan every year.
What?
But these are not people who have gone missing in suspicious circumstances. Instead, they're part of Juhatsu, which literally translates as evaporated or evaporated people.
What?
People who voluntarily escape their lives in the middle of the night. They pack what little they can carry, leaving no forwarding address, and just simply vanish. This isn't just a handful of desperate individuals. We're talking about the equivalent of a small city of people choosing to delete themselves from existence every single year. Some even hire specialist night moving services that help them relocate under cover of darkness to avoid detection.
Wait,
while
that's
some flee to the periphery.
Wait, but you have a company like that? If it was truly that concerning, why would you have like night moving companies then?
Others find themselves in very poor districts like Kamagasuki and Osaka, otherwise known as the Skid Row of Japan, which have become like slums, something most people don't associate with a country known for being high-tech and ultra-clean. Some report not seeing their families for some 40 years, their wives and parents saying they just left with the clothes they had on. The Juhatsu often flee death or brutal job situations with low pay and grueling hours. Others are fleeing domestic abuse, partly driven by society's obsession with shame and the idea that family issues should remain private at all. And
mental health issues too. In Japan, if you're like unironically medically retarded or you have mental health problems like bipolar and schizophrenia, they'll like abandon you basically.
Costs. And this is far from the only disturbing phenomenon that brings us inside modern Japan.
If you're defective, you're not seen as a human being. Decline,
something that's uniquely Japanese, but also a deeply horrifying warning for where the rest of the West is headed.
A lot of Asian countries are like that too.
Japan is quite literally everything wrong with society. Because some people in modern Japan don't just have the will or courage to run away like the Juhatsu. They choose a different way to retreat from society, finding themselves in a single room and rarely contacting the outside world.
Ooh.
This is the bedroom of a hikikomori, one of Japan's 1.5 million social recluses who have voluntarily withdrawn from society. The windows are covered with thick blackout curtains blocking any trace of natural light. Empty convenience store bento boxes are stacked in towers beside a kitchen sink that hasn't been used in months. A gaming setup that might have once been worth thousands of dollars next to a bucket used as a makeshift toilet to avoid leaving the room.
What, you don't even have a toilet?
I think this kind of setup belongs to a teenager, but many hikikomori are
But hold up, wouldn't you have a bathroom?
Middle-aged men who have barely left their homes.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Some live in a room in their parents' house, a situation known in Japan as the 80-50 problem. It involves elderly parents supporting their middle-aged children. There are hundreds of thousands of these arrangements across Japan, hidden behind closed doors in ordinary suburban houses. Sound familiar? In America, more 25 to 35-year-olds now live with their parents than ever. The highest rate since the Great Depression. It's the same in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, and becoming more common in most European countries, where kids always used to just leave their home as teens. Instead, we just call this a cost of living.
You literally can't afford to.
Crisis, but Japan shows us where this leads when it becomes permanent.
Whoa.
Really, they're just a few years ahead of the West. The parent or parent, nearly always a single mother, are forced to accept the situation despite it bringing shame on the family. For those who won't escape or seal themselves off from the world, there's a more permanent exit route.
That got grim.
Japan's unaliving rate has declined in recent years, but is still exceptionally high for a developed country. But what's strange about it really isn't the numbers, it's how society views it. In most Western countries, unaliving oneself carries heavy moral stigma. In Japan, not so much, as many still believe it's better to die than live in disgrace, an ancient mindset dating back to the samurai era that hasn't completely disappeared. During the 2008 financial crisis, rates soared as people viewed it as taking responsibility for their failures. Train delays due to human incidents are so common in Tokyo and other cities that train operators are coming up with some creative solutions, like installing blue mood lighting at metro stations and playing catchy melodies to distract people from their thoughts.
Oh my god. We should maybe, like, you know, address the root of the problem? Yeah, the death forest. Yeah, it's a real thing. Yep. That's freaky,
These
man.
forms of extreme escape are all just the tip of a much bigger iceberg. They tell us about something happening on a much wider scale across Japan. Millions of Japanese people, especially the younger generations, are retreating from social life. And this all helps explain why the country is on the brink of a huge demographic collapse. The fertility rate has crashed to just 1.15, meaning...
I think, what's the rate of replacement that you need to, like, sustain a culture? Isn't it like 2 or 2.5? I forget. It's like 2.1. Thank you. Yeah, it's 2.1.
The average Japanese woman will barely have one child in her lifetime.
That's crazy.
In Tokyo, where almost everyone lives, it's even worse, with the fertility rate falling below 1 for 2 consecutive years.
Wow.
For perspective, you need a fertility rate of just 2.1 to maintain your population. At this rate, Japan's population could more than halve in less
They already have a huge problem with elderly people too, and how that demographic is working out. They don't have enough young people to take care of the old people.
100 years. It's actually really difficult to get your head around what this means. Just imagine the town or city where you're living in right now and cut half of everyone out of the picture. We're talking ghost towns, hospitals without staff, trains and buses without drivers. Low birth rates are definitely a global issue, dropping below replacement levels across Europe and the US. You'll struggle to find a Western country where fertility hasn't hit record lows. Across the UK and most of Europe, women are just having one child at most. And if we carry on like this, by 2100, only 6 countries in the world are expected to have fertility rates above replacement levels. We're all sliding down that same demographic cliff. In Japan, the impacts are everywhere. There are
Chat, start breeding!
an insane 9 million properties sitting empty across the country right now, and thousands of schools are being forced to close, which not only concentrates people in the cramped cities, but also results in huge job losses.
There's entire villages in, like, Japan, and I want to say a lot of places, like the Balkans and rural areas, where people get forced into cities, and that's killing villages and little towns.
This
like
demographic death spiral is so bad that people aren't even trying to find partners anymore. In fact, nearly 30% of unmarried Japanese adults have never been in a single relationship. Compare this to America, where only 60% of young men are now single, double the rate for women. Dating apps have turned relationships into a commodity market, where most women compete for the minority of men, leaving everyone else behind. Dating apps are also flooded with people who never actually want to meet. In fact, it's even hard to find a plain normal photo of anyone at all. And when
or catfishing, it's mostly bots too. Isn't that right, chat?
Do happen in real life,
Scammers
cultural conventions tend to get in the way for both Japanese people and outsiders. Casual meeting is seen as too forward. Formal dating is seen as too serious. There are so many barriers, and the shame of failure is extreme on top, which only pushes people towards a more dystopian virtual form of dating driven by virtual relationships.
Love and deep space, let's go!
AI girlfriend apps have exploded in popularity, but some companies...
For those that don't know, that's the female version of going and gooning to your Genshin Impact character.
Taken it to the next level. The Gatebox device offers a holographic companion named Azuma Hikari, who lives in a glass cylinder inside your living room. She'll text you throughout the day, controls your smart home devices, and provides emotional support whenever you need it.
Why the hell would you want a real woman? The only thing she can't do is cook.
And since its release in 2016, the company has issued 4,000 marriage certificates to men who have wed their digital companions.
Oh my god.
While the West faces a dating crisis, Japan just said screw it and industrialized the entire thing. The sex industry there isn't only about hooking up, it's about buying human connection. Host and hostesses bars where you literally pay someone to sit there, listen to your day, laugh at your terrible jokes, and act like they're interested in whatever boring stuff you want to talk about. As for Japanese women, there's this idea called the Christmas cake mentality. Women like Christmas cakes become undesirable after the
25th, they're not good. Tick-tock on the clock.
25th. You're supposed to find a husband and start having babies before 26, or you're considered damaged goods. Many also need to work full-time because single incomes don't cut it anymore. The beauty standards that enforce this are absolutely brutal. Double eyelid surgery has become so normal that parents give it as a high school graduation gift.
They do that in Korea as well. Yeah. Fun fact, I had a friend named Yunjin, not related to Yunjin from Dead by Daylight. Her name was Yunjin, and when she turned 18, when we finished high school in New Zealand, as soon as she finished, her parents flew her back to Korea and she got double eyelid surgery. Yep. I'm not, I swear on my own life, swear to God. What the hell is double eyelid surgery? It makes you look like you have European eyes.
Videos of girls as young as 9 being put through cosmetic procedures mostly to make them look more Western. Skin whitening products dominate every drugstore with names like Snow Angel and Pure Ivory. Having plain skin signals you're refined, wealthy, marriage material.
Yeah, if you're
Ever
10,
feel
you're
like
gross,
you're stuck in a habit you don't even think about? Maybe it's something you reach for during stressful moments while hanging out with friends or just out of
chips!
boredom. I've been there. That's why I was excited to try Fume, and honestly it's been a game changer. Fume, the sponsor of today's video, isn't another vape, e-cig or nicotine product. It's something
It's common birthday in South Korea? I mean, I don't know about birthday, but yeah, that girl that I knew in school, because she was an international student, as soon as they turn 18, they usually go back to their own country, or they stay and study, or keep studying in college. Yeah, she got it as a gift.
Totally different, a simple, satisfying way to replace bad habits without inhaling anything harmful. There's no smoke, there's no vapor, and no nicotine. It's just natural, flavored air that gives you something to reach out for without the chemicals. And sometimes breaking a habit isn't just about willpower, it's about having something better to reach for instead. And Fume gives you that alternative, as Fume has a magnetic, fidget-friendly design that keeps your hands busy and your mind engaged, along with flavors that actually taste good. For me, my personal favorite is crisp mint, but there are tons of options, from citrusy to earthy to refreshing, which is why over 500,000 people have already added Fume to their daily routine, and I totally get why. It's simple, satisfying, and doesn't come with any downsides of smoking or vaping. And right now, if you order the Journey Pack using my code MOON, you'll get a free Fume topper. So if you've been thinking about changing your habits, this is the perfect first step. Go to tryfume.com/moon or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours today. You can get even weirder though, as Japan has an entire industry based around renting friends, family members, or co-workers. The famous German film and documentary maker Werner Herzog followed one of these companies called Family Romance, which employs 1,200 actors who can play any role you need. Some roles are never supposed to end. For example, the founder was hired by a mother to play the father of a 12-year-old girl for several years. One client who
That's horrifying. What?
hired a wife and daughter seems happy for the company. They have regular meals together, creating the illusion of family life for someone whose real family is gone. Just think about this for a second. A grown man paying actors to pretend to be his family, eating dinner with them night after night, knowing it's all
That's freaky. No, man.
fake, but preferring it to the alternative, which is eating alone. It shows the extremes Japan has resorted to fix something people can relate to everywhere.
You know, I actually kind of fall akin to this, being very related to... You know, there's like people who would argue that like AI necromancy is like really not hedonistic, like what's the word? Like it's indulgent and it's weird and sad. Because it's like, I understand the pain of like not seeing your loved one, but like it's being reanimated in a way that's not natural. Yeah, they bring back to life your loved one that's been dead, and then they put you in VR and let you talk to them, and it's like, that's not good. I don't think that's healthy. No matter how horrible it is to like think about it, I think it's weird.
Feels profoundly Japanese, yet so very recognizable. Compare that to the West, where we're doing the exact same things but with extra steps and often more guilt. Where we have parasocial relationships with online influencers, huge explosions in things like OnlyFans and campsites, where you can watch your favorite streamer sleep. It seems like we're starting to buy the same product that Japan is, but we're just less direct about admitting it. So why has it come to this? Why is Japan's extreme culture destroying its youth and ultimately the entire country? Well, we can find some answers in Japan's notoriously brutal workplace.
Oh yeah.
Japan's economic miracle, which started in the 60s and saw its economy grow by some 10% every year for over a decade, was built on a simple promise. Work hard, be loyal to your company, and you will be rewarded with a job for life, a decent salary, and social respect. However, this promise has been thoroughly broken in recent years.
I've seen a lot of videos and TikToks of foreigners complaining how horrible it is and the standard at which people are held. Even foreigners and people who are native to Japan.
The American dream promised the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Work hard, get a degree, buy a house, support a family. Now you need multiple jobs to afford rent, let alone home.
Or you job hop, that's another one. Now you job hop to try and maintain your, like, career ladder options.
The social contract is breaking down everywhere. To understand why, you have to go back to the 1980s when everyone thought Japan was gonna take over the world. Japanese companies were buying up Manhattan real estate and Hollywood studios.
Whoa.
Business schools were teaching Japanese management techniques because they felt it would dominate everything. People like Steve Jobs marveled at Japan's product engineering.
It's funny, the group of people that do not use quality in their marketing are the Japanese. You never see them using quality in their marketing.
Because it already is quality. They don't need to say it.
It's only the American companies that do. And yet, if you ask people on the street which products have the best reputation for quality, they will tell you the Japanese products.
Japanese, Swiss. I would say it used to be German as well, because people used to pride themselves on having German factory-made things. Yeah. I don't know how it is now. My mom, fun fact, my mom has a mixer from 1975. And it was bought, and it was under a German brand, and it was bought across the wall. And it still works to this day. Yeah. Yeah, it's been like, what, the 30, 50, like 50 years, something like that? Oh my gosh, it still works. It's still just fine. Like, she had to replace the cord, but it still works. Yep.
Now, why is that? How could that be? The answer is because customers don't form their opinions on quality from marketing. They don't form their opinions on quality from who won the Deming Award or who won the Baldur Award. They form their opinions on quality from their own experience with the products or the services.
The country seemed unstoppable, but then the bubble burst in 1991 and Japan entered what economists called the lost decades. 30 years of economic stagnation that continues to this day. Property values collapsed, the banks failed, and companies started mass layoffs. But instead of adapting, Japan doubled down. The corporate hierarchy remained, the work culture just intensified to make up the difference. Walk through Shimbashi Station at 2 AM today and it's very common to see men in suits strewn across the roads and sidewalks. These are Japan's salarymen, office workers who've collapsed on the streets, sometimes from exhaustion, sometimes from alcohol, often a mixture of the two. Until everyone had a camera on their phone, most probably wouldn't have imagined the carnage brought upon Japan's richest districts at night. But that's exactly what it looks like, with bodies slumped on the roadside, vomit on the floors, police dragging people off the metro platforms, and rubbish piled up and overflowing out of the bins. In some cases, these salarymen will be returning from nomikai, mandatory corporate drinking sessions that aren't—
Yeah, and you have to go, and if you don't go, you're gonna probably get demoted or like seen as like you don't care, even if you're tired or you have another obligation. It tears apart families too, to an extent as well.
Optional if you want to keep your job. The rules are bizarre and deeply hierarchical.
You're blacklisted.
Junior
That's a good
employees
word.
must constantly refill their seniors' glasses but never pour their own drinks. You're expected to match your boss drink for drink, even if he's twice your size and has been doing this for decades. Leaving before your superior is considered deeply insulting. Some stay out all night until the first train starts running again at 5 AM. It's not uncommon to head into clinics for an IV drip of electrolytes and nutrients to somehow function at work the next day. Look at this one, which advertises itself for those in Tokyo seeking quick recovery after social drinking events. Those with fatigue and
hangover cures with ginger and lemon
after alcohol consumption. Or this one, recommended for those who have consumed too much
alcohol. It's got a picture of a liver. It has a picture of a liver. You can't even mistake that.
alcohol. Travelers have been heading to 7-Eleven shops and pointing out the huge selection of colorful bottles the Japanese have invented to cure hangovers. But that's sometimes not enough, because for those who can't handle it, there's always karoshi, literally meaning death from overwork. Thousands of families file compensation claims annually for people dying from their jobs, though the real number is much higher.
State broadcaster NHK revealed
those are the ones that like don't get shamed by the company.
Its reporters, 31-year-old Miwa Sato, had died from heart failure after working near 14-hour days.
And she again, I would have chalked it up. If this was America, I'd be like, if she was fat, I'd be like, damn, okay, maybe she should have lost some weight, and then maybe they would have investigated. But damn, 31 from heart failure?
It took 4 years for NHK to announce Sato's death. Parents accused the network of a cover-up.
The reality is that in Japan, workers are working ridiculous hours.
American labor activist Louis Cardler says such sacrifice is seen as a virtue here.
There's a strong cultural norm that you have to devote everything to the company, and you're a corporate warrior. And I think that's what really pushes people over the head.
You don't give your all, you're a piece of shit.
We might call it burnout, but the reality is that most people in the West don't actually work much less than the Japanese anymore, and we're catching up rapidly.
We're getting gaslit by corpos? Still think we got it so bad in America? Yes. Look, Americans work hundreds of hours more a year than Europeans. Yeah, I think so. There's so many people that I know personally, like people that work hard labor jobs, that work and then go to their second job.
And at least the Japanese have more public and legal holidays than Americans, with 16 national holidays compared to America's 12 federal holidays.
Oh yeah, and then with no mandate for paid leave. Yeah, that sucks. Dude, I forgot how bad my job used to be. Yep, no mandate for paid leave. Go fuck yourself, idiot. Dude, there's a running gag with Americans. Every time you swap jobs, because you usually like climb the corporate ladder or you're climbing the career ladder, every time you go to a new job, as long as it's not like related to your old job in that sense, you always start with all your grandparents. The joke is that every time something happens, you don't want to, like, you know, go into work, something happened, they tell you to go fuck yourself. You say that one of your parents died. What are they gonna do? Make you prove it? Yeah, like your grandparents died. That's what you do. It's time to play the game, motherfucker!
And the US is still one of the only industrialized nations with no statutory minimum requirement for paid vacation days, while Japan guarantees up to 20 annual leave days by law depending on years of service. So maybe the health problems we're seeing from overwork in Japan are something we can look forward to down the line too.
It's time to play
However,
the game.
Japan has always had a really extreme work culture where dedication is valued and rejecting it is viewed as impolite. Progress comes from sacrifice, and some companies go too far by deliberately exploiting these values. They're called black companies, which are technically legal but engage in...
we know this word. My chat knows this word. I wonder who it could be.
Business practices that would be illegal elsewhere in the world. One former employee decided to document his experience working for one of these companies, filming his daily routine and explaining the system from the inside. The footage follows him through a typical day, leaving for work before dawn, working a 12-hour shift, eating dinner alone while his family sleeps.
Dude, it's so quiet.
What do you think kids think when they become aware of all of this? What's their rational response? Don't engage with any of it. Over 300,000 Japanese students have simply stopped attending school. They've decided the entire system is just pointless. Some gather at Tokyo Plaza, where there's hundreds of kids essentially homeless and living in manga cafes. And you can see them talking to Salaryman late at night.
You know what? That's the only way to rebel. Like, what? Do you want to work yourself to death? Yeah, there's no hope. Like, what are you supposed to do? I don't blame them. I know it's not, like, the best option, but, like, it's just kind of like you watch your parents die from being overworked, or your grandparents, or your cousins, or your aunts and uncles. It's like, What do? Just doom out.
Again, people probably don't think of truancy when they think of Japan,
it's sad.
A country known for its discipline. One observer walking through the area documented what he found.
Right there, you see them? Some of them, they're like sleeping on the floor.
Kids sleeping rough. Like there's like a girl dressed up as a maid there just hanging out on the floor. They're homeless kids who have come from the countryside. Okay.
And they're just looking for the companies, like friends. Oh, you could say like 14 to 18. You could be any age, doesn't matter. It's almost like Akihabara. Anyone can be accepted in this town.
Wow.
So you can be homeless, you can be hooker, you can be a gambler, you can be a
That's
yakuza,
insane.
doesn't matter.
What?
You can be here.
When children or adults turn to
kids,
homelessness
man.
or otherwise reject traditional Japanese society, it's irreversible. The shame is too much for the family to handle and they shut their doors, and there's often no way back. Kids who aren't on the streets often disappear into virtual worlds. Gaming addiction affects nearly 20% of Japanese youth, but calling it addiction misses the point. These kids know that their digital achievements are safer than the real ones. The isekai anime genre has exploded.
I did this too. Yeah, I was failing college and I was lying to my parents. Yeah, I did that, and then I just didn't tell them. I was failing, and I didn't want to tell them, and I didn't want to disappoint them, and I didn't tell them. I had very high expectations, so I ran away, and I basically, not ran away, proverbially speaking, I still live with them, but I basically put on the front. A lot of the need, yep, I'm not gonna hide it, I did it, yep. It's how I got addicted to WoW. It sucks, but it's true. Now you're a VTuber? Yep, that's me.
Roughly
I got
translating
isekai
as
into
born
anime.
in another world. These are stories about ordinary people transported to fantasy worlds where they actually matter. It's a
College is a choice though. If you're not gonna do the work, then drop out. When you have very strict parents and you have a culture that expects you to do really, really well, or you're a disgrace. This is a bit TMI, but the way that I was raised, when I came home and I didn't have more than a B+, my parents were not happy. Like, I think now that they've grown up and we've gone through our tribulations, I don't hate them, by the way. I love my parents. However, at the time, I would come home from school. If I didn't have anything better than a B+, my parents would not be happy. It would be very, very not a good time. Yeah. Wasn't college or no, comrade, you've been selected to the farm wheat? I don't know, man. I think that's a very Western perception. But yeah, for the most part, my parents both went to college in back in the Soviet Union, and yeah, if you didn't get like high education, you were seen as like lesser. And my parents didn't come from wealthy families, so they came through scholarships. They worked really hard. They lived in towns and cities that they didn't want to live in, so they had that expectation for my brother and myself, and if I didn't do well, it was really, really not a good time. So that like kind of wore on me. So I understand from an Asian society perspective, it's like kind of the same thing, where it's like if you came home from an A, why didn't you get an A+? You know what I'm saying? Like why did you not? Those memes with the Asian parents saying like, oh, you got an A, why not A+? Why not A+? It was the same thing.
Subtle difference to normal fantasy, as the theme here is escaping to somewhere else where you know you have a chance.
Yeah,
Compare that
isekai.
to real life, where you can follow every rule perfectly and still end up collapsed on a sidewalk from exhaustion, with no kids, no family, and no real purpose. While other countries try to solve or deny their dysfunction, they turn theirs into an art form, creating manga, anime, and video games that don't just depict social isolation and despair, but celebrate and monetize it. What's so fascinating when you walk around parts of Japan is how the physical environment seems to mirror all of this social dysfunction. Take the sheer density of vending machines, for instance. Japan has 5 million of them. That's one for every 25 people. You can buy hot coffee, cold beer, fresh flowers for birthdays and funerals, even entire meals without ever having to speak to anyone. We're already getting there in our own way though. With self-service checkouts everywhere, Uber Eats and groceries delivered to your doorstep, and fewer places to actually go out and socialize. People are working remotely more than ever. Nearly half of Americans live day to day without seeing anyone face to face. And yet Japan is still worse than everywhere else. The entire place is built to just be alone, to eat by yourself.
Yeah, there's entire ramen restaurants dedicated to like basically not interacting with human beings.
To do all activities by yourself.
I'm not talking like you walk up to the cash register and you do self-checkout and there's people around you. It's literally like an isolated, like more or less like a cubicle, and then they like just give it to you, and that's it.
The idol industry is another which tells us about how humans have become commodities.
Idol!
People are obsessed with them, and the industry preys on it. For one group called AKB48, the more records fans purchase, the more opportunities they have to shake hands with the band members. One fan bought 3,000 CDs in support of his favorite act, going into debt in the process just to get more chances at these brief encounters. Over 10,000 teenage girls are idols and counting, and the underground scene gets even more intense.
And that doesn't even count VTubers, I don't think. These are just like IRL idols.
Underground idols appear at shady venues, sometimes for small audiences, and face insane work commitments. Dating bans are enforced because they're necessary for idols to win the support of male fans. They work whenever their bosses need them to, do whatever they want, and are often binded by contracts they cannot break. When you zoom out, you see the symptoms are just everywhere. Young adults are living with parents because rent consumed their futures. People find themselves swiping through dating apps for months without ever actually meeting anyone. Jobs grind people.
I heard from a lot of people in my chat, and then like people in real life, that there's people out there who swipe on dating apps and then you talk with them for 3 weeks and then you say, hey, do you want to meet up? And they say no, I want to talk some more. It's like, bitch, it's been 3 weeks. What do you mean you want to talk? We've talked about everything. Can I meet you face to face? And they're like, no, I don't wanna. It's like, what the fuck? True, yep. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's not just my chat, it's people in real life I've talked to.
Down and barely cover their basic expenses. Japan's dystopian solutions might be more creative and extreme, as that's in their cultural DNA, but in some way there's still solutions. While walking out of a job or cutting ties with family is an extremely difficult thing for most, for some it's just pragmatic, it's survival. It's why Japan is just a beta test for our coming future dystopia. It isn't some exotic warning from the future, it's Tuesday in Tokyo, and it might be coming to a city near you.
Ooh,
and thank you Fume for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check them out using the link in the description below.
Whoa, that was freaky. Chat. Oh my god. Oh my god. Go check them out, Moon.
Yeah.